Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Epic Marvel Podcast YouTube channel. My name is Kurtis, and I am here to unbox some epics with all of you today. Let me see here. In the chat, we have Logan Wayne, of course. Excited that you are here with me today. Nehemiah, Ryan, Batman, Joel, Gene, Curtis, what is the epic collection you want Marvel to do the most? Well, Gene, they've actually hit most of my wants, especially Generation X. Once they get that volume 6 out and that series is complete, I'm not going to say that they can stop because they've done all that they need to do, but they definitely have hit that sweet spot for me. Alpha Flight would be nice. Okay, so there are some, like Spectacular Spider-Man. I really want Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. To become an epic collection. That's kind of the last remaining one out of that early Silver Age for Marvel. So I think they should get that, and that would be really good. James is here. Remainder TV, don't know who you are, but glad you're here with us. And Jason. So before we jump in to the epic collections, I just want to bring up a book. I know a lot of you on the DC page, the DC Facebook group that we talk about DC Finest, you've noticed that I've been posting posts about apes because it's just fascinating to me that DC uses apes in so many of their books all throughout their history. So I wanted to share a book with you today that has to do with apes, but it's not Marvel and it's not DC. It's called Primates. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because today, rest in peace, Jane Goodall. She passed away at the age of 91. And she was a scientist who worked with chimpanzees and other primates in the jungle in the 60s. And she was one of the first people. She kind of redefined the definition of chimpanzee because she observed them using tools. And the definition at that point, one of the standard definitions of humans were animals that could use tools. And so you had to kind of redefine things because all of a sudden there's a link there between humans and chimpanzees. Anyway, this is a graphic novel from one of my favorite graphic novel publishers, First Second, and they do a ton of great books. But this one, while they are not strictly all ages, but they do kind of lean more toward all ages, and you can see this art style sort of lends itself more to all ages. But it's still a great book that gives us a really nice overview of the life of Jane Goodall and the work that she did, along with two of the scientists that she worked with when she was in the jungles in Africa. So just going to share that today because she passed away today, or she passed away recently at 91. So it's a good read. It's called Primates. That's my plug for another book that isn't Marvel and DC. I might start doing that maybe in all of my streams because there's so much great stuff out there that isn't from the big two. Okay, I've got a big box here. Let's open it up and see what's inside. It's from Penguin Random House, who is the distributor for Marvel Comics. Okay, we got two epic collections in here. The first one I know you've been waiting for. I've been waiting for this one as well. X-Men Epic Collection, Wounded Wolf. I've really been looking forward to this one. Volume 13. Uncanny X-Men 199 to 210. X-Men Annual 9 and 10. And New Mutants Special Edition number 1. And Marvel Fanfare 33. I'm going to look at the back cover. There's the classic Magneto, Trial of Magneto cover right there. On the spine is Colossus. Colossus and all the people in the background, Rogue, Storm. Of course, they're using the one where Wolverine is not smoking and his smoke is not going up here. That's pretty standard these days, but I'm pretty sure we'll find it uncut on the inside. There's a look at the credits. We have Chris Claremont with Barry Windsor Smith, John Romita Jr., Arthur Adams, Rick Leonardi, June Brakeman, and Barry Windsor Smith. That is an all-star team of people who were doing comics in the 80s. Now, this is collecting some more of the Chris Claremont era, of course. Um, let's see what we can see inside here. Phoenix, which is the Rachel Summers from the future, is now kind of a mainstay in the present day here. And yeah, the whole mutant rivalry has ramped up to get to the trial of Magneto. We have a special edition, which this book, New Mutant Special Edition, this one is also in one of the New Mutants Epics collections, of course, but we have it here as well, as it does relate to some of the events that are going on at the time. Let's get, this is Arthur Adams. Here we go. It's continued in Giant Size X-Men Annual number 9. So that looks familiar. I think they used that on a trading card. But both of these are Arthur Adams. So he was doing a lot of work behind the scenes trying to get this double size, multi-part story between the two out there. A little Star Trek reference for you. And then here's, let me see here. Let me just get to Trial of Magneto in the big X-Men 200. Some of these plot points were used just recently in the updated X-Men animated series on Disney Plus, X-Men 97. But yeah, the Starjammers are in here. John Romita Jr. is the main artist at this time, and this is a period of, well, that doesn't look like John Romita Jr. at all. He must not have done this one issue here. What is this? Let's see. Bear with me, folks, as I find the beginning of this story. Oh, Dan Green. Dan Green did the art for this special issue. That's cool. And then Rick Leonardi does this one right here. I think I have this single issue. I had a bunch of these because this was right around the time. What years are these? 1985, 1986. Yeah. I started collecting a few years after these issues came out, but they hit the back issue bins. And you could get them for pretty cheap back in the day. They're a lot more expensive now, even in the back issue bins, I think. I don't think you find these just floating around the dollar bins unless it's of questionable quality. Um, that's a cool double page spread. It keeps going. So this is the Secret Wars era, so we have some tie-ins here. Oh, Arthur Adams is an underrated artist. He's so great. Is he underrated? I think he's pretty well known as being pretty like spectacular. Um, never been a fan of Rick Leonardi though. I think you need to find him with the right inker. Terry Austin inking Rick Leonardi is great, and you can see that in Cloak and Dagger. So check out the Cloak and Dagger stuff. Here's what I was looking for. Barry Windsor Smith. He's got an unmistakable style. Looks like I think he's doing the coloring on this one too, because he has a very distinct way of coloring also. But he was the guy that did the Weapon X story in Marvel Comics Presents. And this is what he's the collection is named after this issue here. He puts a lot of detail into his work. You can always tell, but detail, but at the same time, not overly busy. Now, this definitely looks busy because of all the snow, but He makes sure he does things like he doesn't cover up faces with the snow and obscure things, um, so you can still see what the flow of action is through all of this. He uses coloring to great effect as well, but he's so cool. And now, oh yeah, okay, so here's John Romita Jr. Rogue is a new recruit to the team at this point. FF stands for the Fighters. Freedom Fighters or Freedom Force? I can't remember. But anyway, it was Mystique's team of government contracted villains turned heroes trying to do jobs that the government felt like they can't really do, go after mutants and whatnot. Freedom Force. Thank you, Logan. Freedom Force. Um, I mean, he's obviously really influential, speaking about Arthur Adams, but I personally never hear him spoken about with the same regard as John Byrne or Neil Adams. Yeah, you're right. He's not like the top level right there, but yeah, this is Nimrod. Nimrod is such a JJ or sorry, JR design, right? I feel like the stuff that he does has a very particular look when he does character designs. Nimrod is right up there. Mid 80s Romita Jr. Awesome. Um, for Leonardi, I agree with Kurtis and would also add Spider-Man 2099. Thanks for that recommendation. Hey, Max is here. Love the classic kitty costume. Yeah, she went through a bunch of different designs in the early days, but yeah, this one's good. So yeah, Professor X is out of action here. Oh, here's some more Arthur Adams. What is this one? X-Men Annual number 10. So if you like Arthur Adams, um you'll get a whole ton of Arthur Adams in this book. 3 giant, like triple size issues in this one book. So does he get cover credits? Yes, he does, right there. That's excellent. Let's see here. Let's see what's here in the way of bonus features. You've got a page from Marvel Age by Ron Friends. And speaking of Shadowcat's costumes, here's some costume designs, some unused ones by Arthur Adams. And here's Barry Windsor Smith doing some sketches, some designs as well. Wow. Cover gallery. All of these issues have been reprinted in X-Men Classic, given new covers. And so they've included what the covers were for all of that there. And then some collection covers. Release date. That is a great question. Is it whoops, it might be as soon as next week. Let's have a look here. I don't know why I should automatically pull this up, but I don't. My schedule. This book is scheduled for October the 14th. You're going to have to wait for 2 weeks on this one. October 14th. And yeah, so that's pretty cool. I'm so excited for this epic. I used to have the X-Men Ghosts trade paperback that collects most of this stuff. Nice. You can upgrade if you want to get a few more issues here. Yeah, there you go. I love the epics. I wish I had more room to collect more lines. That's a lot of people's problems, isn't it? Surprised we haven't seen some X-Men classic epics. I think there were 2 complete collections, so it would be easy to reskin those. Yes, there were 2 of those for sure. 2 X-Men classic complete collections. I think both of them are out of print. Those are really good books. They put a lot of effort into the presentation, the mapping, the way they've presented that material, because it's all kind of like, material that fits in to different parts of the Claremont run. So the way they present it is really, really great. So if they just reskin those as Epic collections, I think that would be really good. I'm going to get all the Secret Agent X9 IDW books if I can find any for Christmas. Those are getting a little hard to find. So good luck with you. Uh, some of them are pretty rare. If you haven't, that's a newspaper comic strip for all of you who don't know about it. Secret Agent X9, also called Secret Agent Corrigan. I believe there's only one IDW book that's actually called Secret Agent X9, and that's the Alex Rint era. But the Secret Agent Corrigan, it's called X9 Secret Agent Corrigan, and that one's the art by Archie Goodwin and Al Williamson. Then those are so fun, great books. Leonardo was awesome. I think Al Williamson inked him for Spider-Man 2099. I was just talking about Al Williamson. Um, he is one of the underrated artists. Yeah, I think Rick Leonardi, even more than Arthur Adams, is underrated. Axel Plate is here. Good night, Epic Marvel Podcast. Hi, Mr. Findlay. Thank you very much. Um, oh, Logan Wayne has that Ghosts trade paperback too. Okay, so the second epic that was in this box with X-Men, not as exciting as X-Men, but still pretty exciting, is Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider. It's been a little while since we got one of these books. I think the last time, I think it's been over a year, in fact. Let me just double check that. Spider-Gwen Volume 2 came out February of 2024, and now here we are in October of 2025. So it's been a year and a half since we got one of these volumes. So here's the back cover. This volume is called Gwennum, which you can imagine is the Gwen Stacy version of Venom. There's the cover. And this collects Spider-Gwen, the 2015 series, issues 25 to 34, Spider-Geddon Ghost Spider video comic #1, whatever that is, and Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, the 2018 series, numbers 1 to 10. So it closes off her previous series that started in the previous volume and has the first 10 issues of her next ongoing series, which it's if they just kept the numbering going, I think you wouldn't really have any interruption, but is this the last Ghost Spider epic before she moves into the 616 universe? Somebody answer that because I have no idea. This is all new material to me. Collecting up to, from 2017 to 2019. So we're getting pretty recent. This is just before the pandemic, all of this material. I think this and the Spider-Man Deadpool is the most recent material that has come into Epic Collections. So yeah, the cliffhanger at the end of the previous volume is that the symbiote kind of takes over her. So we get to see the fallout of that, and I really like this. I really like this art style. It's very stylized. It has a very unique look, unlike anything that Marvel does, and so I think I like that. It suits kind of the punk rock nature of this book, I think, especially with the garish colors, garish on purpose. Um, oh, look at that, a Watcher. Matt Murdock in this universe is a bad guy and plays a big role in the life of Gwen Stacy. So it's kind of neat to see that there. Don't know who that hooded spider guy is. Okay, I want to find this video comic. What is a Spider-Gwen video comic? That's what this one is right here. Gwen Stacy's in a band called the Mary Janes. Mary Jane is the lead singer. Well, just looks like a regular comic to me, but maybe it was originally like motion graphics. Somebody tell me. Someone in the comments there. Oh, there's Spider Ham. Of course, Gwen Stacy. This version of Gwen Stacy spins out of the Spider Verse story. So she does meet up with a bunch of other Spider characters kind of on a regular basis. Spider-Ham being one of her frequent collaborators. And there looks like the Peter Parker from India. So I think we have. Oh yeah, there is a Spider Verse. What is it? Spider-Geddon Ghost Spider. Yeah, that's what it's called. So yeah, of course we're meeting up with some of the other Spider people because it's a Spider-Geddon thing, which is part of the Spider Verse. Very cool. Looks like she's going to battle a werewolf. Wonder who that's related to. Very cool. That's yeah, all of these artists are people that I am not familiar with because I have not kept up with the modern crop of people who are doing art these days. But Jason Latour is the writer for most of these with Shannon McGuire, Shannon McGuire, and Robbie Rodriguez, Tim Elred, Rosie Campe, and Takashi Miyazawa, who I think does the Peter Loves Mary Jane or Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane series. I think that's who that is. There we go. Martin's here. One of the things that suck about moderns is that a lot of modern books are lucky to reach even issue 20. So if you get stuff like this book's so you get stuff like this book's table of contents. That's true. But the nice thing about Epic Collections is that they put all of that in order for you and put the volume number on the back so it gives you the reading order that you need to navigate through that mess that they themselves created. So there you go. Did you hear of any issues with God Loves Man Kills epic? Mine has a darker spine than the rest of the X-Men epics. I didn't notice that. I don't think mine's any different than that. Sometimes there are slight variations in the pigment of the dye, but I didn't notice anything that was like obviously different. I remember the only reason I was hyped for Spider-Geddon was because they made a big deal of the PS4 Spidey showing up. I think they gave him a one-shot too. Yeah, will that ever show up in Epic Collections? Who knows? I don't know. Well, that's two. That's two we've talked about. We've got time for one more? I think so. Let's see what's in this next box. In fact, I know what's in this box because they put a sticker on the front of it that tells me. But I'm not going to tell you. It's going to be a surprise. Oh, by the way, the Spider-Gwen book is coming out as the same week as X-Men. They're both coming out on October the 14th. And then this one, let me just check the date of this one. Venom Planet of the Symbiotes is coming out the 28th. So I showed you Moon Knight last week, which is the 21st. So there we go. That's our slate for October is Annihilation Volume 2, Captain America Modern Volume 3 coming out next week. And then X-Men and Spider-Gwen coming out the 14th, Moon Knight coming out the 22nd, the 21st, and then this one coming out the 28th. And this is Venom Epic Collection Volume 6, Planet of the Symbiotes. There's the back cover with Ben Reilly for those of you who are Ben Reilly fans. 1995 to 1996. There's the spine. Venom right on there. But what is in this book, you say? Venom, Along Came a Spider, numbers 1 through 4. Venom the Hunted, 1 through 3. And material from Amazing Spider-Man Super Special, Amazing Spider-Man, or Spider-Man Super Special, Venom Super Special, Spectacular Spider-Man Super Special, Web of Spider-Man Super Special, and Venom, Sinner Takes All numbers 1 through 4, and the Spider-Man Holiday Special 1995. Now, someone tell me, why does it say that this is material from Venom, Sinner Takes All numbers 1 through 4? Um, what is missing from that book? There must be some backup stories that don't relate to Venom. They should have just put them in there. I don't know why they wouldn't, but and same with the super specials. I know they have some backup stories in there also that don't have to do with the Planet of the Symbiotes books. Now, unfortunately, um, Planet of the Symbiotes, that story is also in Epic Collections. And let me see. I can't remember if it's in an Epic Collection already or if it's going to be coming out here. Have a look. Nope, not yet. It's not in Epic Collections yet, but it is in the Spider-Man Clone Saga, the complete epics, which were like the complete collections back in the day. And they didn't include those bonus stories in there. So I'm sure hoping when it gets to the Spider-Man epic collections that they will actually put those backup features. Because where else are they going to go? They're still Spider-Man related. This fills a gap actually. Volume 6, because we had volume 7 already, um, which was called The Hunger. And so this one, and then before this was volume 5, Carnage Unleashed. So this fills in a gap. This fills in a gap that we needed. And now the only mm, there might be one more volume after volume 7. There might be a volume 8, and it would have a bunch of like random like guest appearances because his title was canceled with a series called Venom the Finale, and that's in volume 7. But there are other appearances that take place before we get to Venom Modern Era Volume 1. So there's probably going to be Volume 8. But then other than that, we need Volume 3, which is going to be Maximum Carnage. And after that, Venom is complete. So Planet of the Symbiotes is one of the first stories that really kind of dives into the lore of the symbiotes. And if I remember correctly, a lot of it kind of gets retconned with the coming of Null and all of that kind of stuff. But we get a whole lot of symbiotes that come in and invade the planet. And it's a big story. You can see Ben Reilly in his Scarlet Spider outfit there, and of course, yeah, we're gonna meet Carnage. The jury, if the jury is part of what is that one? Along Came a Spider. I think Venom is in Carnage is one of these issues as well. Nope, Tarantula. The Venom series was made up of a bunch of little mini series that just kind of happened one after the other in a succession. And this story, Along Came a Spider, is in one of the Spider-Man Epic collections because it has um, Ben Reilly in it, or it's going to be. It's in the complete collections. Um, Sorry, what was I saying? Oh yeah, they just kind of banged them out one after the other and rebooted the numbering for every story arc. So it's not like these were separate series. I think a lot of them, especially in the later run, were written by Larry Hama, and they got a different artist for each one of the arcs. It's kind of what they do now. A lot of times, what they do now with the story arcs is get a different artist so they can work ahead a little bit. Man, you have to like this artist, um, Joe St. Pierre with the huge teeth. He's got such a weird style. Not my favorite Venom artist, that's for sure. But I remember seeing some of the images that they used as promo art. They picked out his best stuff and used it there, and it looked pretty cool. But then you get the actual issues, it's like, not as good as I was hoping. What is this here? Here's Spider-Man Holiday Special. Just one story, a Venom related story from that. And it just keeps on going. What's after this? Venom the Hunted. I don't think I've read that series before, that miniseries. But if you love your Venom, then you're gonna love this book because it is just full of classic 90s Venom stories. Okay, what is here in the way of bonus features? Oh, I don't think there's going to be anything here. Going right to the very end. Wow, look at that. Zero bonus features in here. They had nothing. They found nothing for it. Either that or they wanted to keep the page count down under a signature so they could keep the price point down. Not that, 55 bucks isn't keeping the price down, but it's definitely not higher than that. But there you go. Venom Epic Collection Volume 6 featuring the story Planet of the Symbiotes. That's the selling point for this book right here. Every miniseries is counted towards Venom's legacy number in any ways. Yes, that's very true. I know this is off topic, but you have great taste in shows and movies from what I've seen. I was wondering if you have seen Mad Men, and if so, what did you think? That is very off topic, but I have seen Mad Men, and I really liked it. I thought it was a great exploration into the world of marketing, but also just the way that family life worked and the difference, the like just the gender differences in the 1950s and how that affected, things like pay scale and work environment and stuff. I was really good. It's it's one of those series that gets pretty intense at some points and keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it's a classic. I just think it's great. Is it Eddie Brock Venom or Max Gargan Venom? This is Eddie Brock. This is still the classic era, way before anybody else gets the Venom suit. So Eddie Brock, all the way, start to finish. I'm thinking of getting the Thunderbolts epics. The Bagley art looks so good. Yeah, I love those ones. Those three collections are great. Um, the first two especially I really enjoyed. The third one is pretty good too, and then fourth one's coming out soon. We've already announced that. I'm sure that you've been asked this a number of times, but do you think that DC printing stuff from not only its golden and silver age but lesser known characters to much success and praise in DC Finest will encourage Marvel to start taking chances and doing the same in epics? Um, They already have. In fact, they did it before DC did it. That's the reason we have Generation X epics, and because those are lesser known characters. Like they individually, like it's not that was a series that just doesn't get talked about really, and so the fact that we got that is great. Um, I mean, it depends on what you mean by lesser known characters, because I don't think that the DC Finest have really been doing lesser known characters. They've been hitting all of their really, really popular stuff, popular characters and such. I mean, let me see here. Is Morbius a lesser known character? He had a movie. That's kind of why he got epic collections. Hawkeye has epic collections. Um, Killraven had a solo one. What else do we have here? Uh, Even the Defenders and Blade, like those are characters that people don't really talk about a whole lot. So um, I think that DC is doing it, and that's great. And I'm glad that they are um, spending the time to reprint all of this material. I don't think that they have been doing it better than Marvel. I think that they have refined what Marvel has done a lot, but they have a long way to go. Um, Finest has mainly been TV and movie characters. I would say that that's pretty much the same as Marvel, with a few exceptions. Um, I mean, Marvel just has more movies, so of course they're all going to fall into the movie categories. But um, they 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 haven't ventured into the golden age yet. The Epic collections haven't, so that's somewhere where DC has one up them a little bit. But really, the only golden age books that DC has done so far are Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and a little bit of Justice Society, which has some pretty high, important characters in there too. So, um, I guess I mean like from Millie the Model and Invaders to Darkhawk or something like that. I don't think that DC Finest has really done any books that are on the same level as Darkhawk yet, or Millie the Model. Like those ones, all of the stuff that DC Finest has been doing so far has been pretty top shelf. Some of their most popular characters, with the exception of like horror and science fiction. That's I think where DC Finest has really shown that they're pushing the envelope a little bit, is doing the collections that don't have any any one character to promote or to carry it to sell the book. Dead Man, I think that would be good. Spectre is another one that I think is, I mean, he's still pretty well known, but maybe on a lower tier. But yeah. Speaking of new number ones, I'm guessing the Ultimate Universe epics are going to stick to Spidey, X-Men, FF, and Ultimates. No Ultimate Vision or Ultimate Galactus trilogy or any of the other minis. I mean, if they stick to the mapping that they've done previously, which it seems like they are, then I don't know where those will fit in. I would like to see all of those minis eventually collected in some way. So I don't know if they could do like a Ultimate Universe Epic Collection, just have a blanket title that catches all of that stuff, like Daredevil, Ultimate Daredevil, and Elektra. Um, the Galactus trilogy, you could probably make it into one whole Ultimates book. Um, some of it has the Fantastic Four, some of it has the X-Men. It could go kind of all over the place. Ultimate Universe event minis would actually be a great way for them to test the waters. There are three of them that are the origin of the maker. Yeah, right. Yeah, and I think with the like Ultimate Origins, there are some that kind of help explain the creation of that universe anyway. Curtis, could you give me a quick pitch for Mad Men? I have not. That is, it is very off topic, but sure, I can do that. It's let's see here. It focuses on a guy who works at an ad agency and it's that while that doesn't sound exciting, it's all about the interpersonal drama. It's about the people who about his family and how everything is connected, and he himself is kind of a he needs a lot of work. He's not a good person, and how is that reflected in the work that he does and the people that he relates to? Um, it has a lot of social commentary about the way that society worked with the gender roles and that kind of stuff in the 1950s. So it's got some really great actors. John Hamm's fantastic, and solid writing. And it's one of those things where it's like Better Call Saul. I think I put in the same category. It's like a show about a lawyer. Like that doesn't sound that interesting, but they take it into some really great territory as the show goes along. It's not that long of a show as well. I think it's what, 5 short seasons or something like that. Well, I think that can wrap up our talk for today. We talked about three epic collections: Venom, Epic Collection Volume 6, Planet of the Symbiotes; Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider, Modern Era, Epic Collection Volume 3, Gwennum; and X-Men Epic Collection Volume 13, Wounded Wolf. These are coming out mid-October. So these first two coming out October 14th, and then the following one is October the 27th, with a Moon Knight in between these, which we've already talked about. Um, What are the prices? Standard for right now, which is 55, and this Ghost Spider is 50. Um, yeah, Luciano says, I will definitely be picking up that X-Men epic, one of my favorite X-Men eras. Yes, I agree. What would be mapped in the Daredevil modern era epics? Obviously the Kevin Smith run, but what else? You mean like in volume one? Because we already have volume two moving forward. We're just missing volume one. So that would have, yes, the Kevin Smith era, plus there was a series called Marvel Knights, Spider-Man, and Daredevil, and there's another series called Marvel Knights, Daredevil, and Spider-Man. And I think both of those would fit into volume one to bulk that up a bit to get it to an epic size. Didn't it touch on social topics at the time, such as, well, we're talking about Mad Men here again, such as women's liberation, the civil rights movements, and how it affected those characters? Yeah, yeah, all of that social commentary from that era, definitely. It does deal with that a lot. The epic X-Men epic is a must. Venom a hold because I have 95% of that in the Clone Saga epics. Yes. Yeah, a lot of double dipping. The Planet of the Symbiotes, I think, isn't a lot of that. Is that in the Carnage epic collection as well? Let me just double check that because that's probably a lot of double dipping also. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Planet of the Symbiotes is also in the Carnage Epic Collection Volume 2. So a lot of that's, and that's what happens with the symbiotes. They all show up in each other's stories, and um, it's it's a lot of double dipping. But they do that because if you are only collecting the Venom stuff, then you want that story. Or if you are only collecting Carnage, then you only want that story. What are the chances that Venom fans are also collecting Carnage? I think it's pretty high that they'll collect both, but I don't know. Just in case, got to make it complete. Anyway, I'm going to sign off with that. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will be back next week, next Tuesday, and at the regular time, Tuesday at 3:30, and and I'll be able to share another Epic collection with you, maybe even two. We'll see what happens. See you later, everybody. Have